Hey everybody, and welcome back to Life with Lolo. It is time for our weekly recap of Sisters. This is season 2, episode 7, and it was titled Complications. All right, before we begin the video, I just want to be 100% transparent with y'all because that's what I do. And that's my goal for this year, and I think I've reached it. At any rate, I got some bad news this week, so I am like kind of like on this like emotional teeter right now. So I'm gonna still try to present myself 100% for y'all, but if you find that it's like, oh, what's going on with her, or like this ain't the usual type of review, that's why I said let me just get that out front, because like I don't want y'all like coming at me in the comments and stuff like, well, why she ain't all this and that. Like, look, so I just want to let y'all know straight out, I'm still gonna give y'all the reviews because that's what I said I was gonna do. And again, when I put a goal out there, I try to achieve it and I try to reach it. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm holding myself accountable and giving y'all what y'all request, especially the sisters. Y'all love this show. I mean, I guess I like it too. That's why I keep watching it. But at any rate, y'all, yeah, I'm just not there. So I am going to be in this moment right now and give y'all this review. So like I said, I just wanted to apologize ahead of time if y'all feel like I'm a little off on the review. All right, so with that out the way, all that emotional stuff, let's get into the show. So Andy is back at Paris Place. Okay, before we get into it, it was two scenes in this episode that kind of made me a little uncomfortable. And it was the Paris and Andy scene, and it was the Dani and James scene. And it was uncomfortable to me because it was borderline on I'm not gonna say anybody was raped or anything like that, because that's going like way to the extreme. But it was kind of like the person was put in a situation they didn't really seem comfortable with. Like the no just wasn't heard or whatever. So that kind of made me real uncomfortable. And I was like, Tyler, what is you trying to pull? Like, that really kind of threw me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it because of the state that I'm in. But what did y'all think? What y'all tell me what y'all thought. But anyway, we at not Andy's. We at Paris because Andy ain't got no place. We at Paris Place, and she asking where the bedroom at. He trying to stop her. She like, no, let's keep going. She basically taking his belt off, taking his clothes off. He like, yo, he want to talk. He want to find out like what is going on with her. Like, one minute you ain't like me, next minute you want to screw. Like, what's popping? And she like, look, ain't nothing happening. Let's just go. Like, where the bedroom at? Let's go. Let's do this. So stuff. And he like, no, talk to me. Like, what's going on? Is you hurting? Like, what's going on? Like, you drunk? Like, you this? I don't know if he said she was easy or something, because she got turned off by that. And then she was like, oh, you know what? I'm free to go or whatever. And then he was like, no, 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 because he likes her. He doesn't want to offend her, because like if he offends her, then she may not come back or call him or whatever like that. So that's what I'm getting from it. But so he was just like, no, don't go, stay, but I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. She like, look, ain't nothing going on, I just want to do it. He like, no, 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 no. She climbed on top of him. He's still like, look, no, no, no. I think she got up, and then once she took her dress off, and she had that lingerie on, and baby, let me tell you, that shit was sexy. Okay, it was red. It had like the little things here. Her breast was all hoisted, and then she had the cheeks out, but you couldn't see the cheeks. I mean, that thing was sexy. The only thing that was the tag, that tag annoys me. I just cut that. Nobody want to see that. But at any rate, like, she was looking sexy. He was just like, whoo, child. Like, he looked like he already nutted. So she climbed on top of him, and then he was kissing. They was kissing and stuff like that. And then he was still like, no, all right, let's not do this or whatever. And then she was like, come on. And so then he broke his buttons on his shirt, child. They got the bow chicky wow wow and stuff or whatever. And I was like, why he was sweaty when she was talking to him. I just didn't understand that. So he was sweaty during the whole bow chicky wow wow. But anyway, Back at the club, Danny and James dancing, child. And you would think it was like their prom or their wedding, or like they known each other for life, because she not letting him go. Maurice and the bartender over there talking in the corner. Maurice trying to figure out like what's his story, like what's James' story, like is he down low, like whatever. And the bartender was like, no, he likes women, but he a hustler. Like, because he was like, well, do she got a lot of money? And Maurice was like, no, she broke. And so he was like, oh, no, well, he like her for her then. And so Maurice was like, well, what? He like a hustler? He a scammer? He was like, yeah, the money pay rate or something like that. So Maurice tried to go over there and was like, because the bartender was like, well, I thought you ain't like her. He was like, look, I don't, but I like her friend and me and her friends, and I'm not finna hear about this while we working and stuff. So I'm gonna go over here and tell her. So Maurice trying to tell her like, look, you don't want him. That's not the way to go, sis. And she like, what you talking about? Why you trying to block and stuff? James, look at your stuff. We going back to my place and yada yada yada. I'm like, girl, then you just screw Preston that morning. Like, didn't the whole ordeal with Preston happen that morning? But at any rate, Maurice like, look, just take me home. She like, all right, well, we going to my house. So then she ends up taking Maurice to his place and taking James to her place or whatever. Aaron, he dropping Karen off, and they sitting in the car, and he wanted to make sure that she okay. He want to walk her to the door and stuff like a little gentleman and whatnot. And then she was like, well, I don't want you to go. He was like, well, I'll sleep on the couch. And then they had like this whole conversation about the bed versus the couch. And he said he was going to be strong. Wasn't going to be no bouchky, wow, wow, whatever. So then they pinky promised or whatever. Back at Dani place, James, he acting real sketch. Like, I don't know what was, cause she was like, well, I'm gonna give you a little something or whatever. And he was like, what, you got meth? She was like, meth? What? Like, what? And so he was like, well, I ain't know, cause like your boy Calvin, he was just doing some meth in the bathroom. She was like, what? He was doing meth? And he was like, yeah. So I thought you was down with that. She was like, no, I'm about to give you some weed so you can have a couple drinky drinks, a couple puffs, and then you can go. Cause then it was like she ain't really want him there. But I'm like, Dani, why the hell you bring him to your house if you ain't really want? Like, come on now, you girl. So. And it's late. You just got out the club. Like, you already was making it seem like you wanted to have sex with him. And not saying, like, she can't say no. But why even why would you even take him to your house? Like, she should have dropped him off at his place or whatever. Because dude ain't had no car. I'm like, girl. So she could have just dropped him off at his spot or whatever. But no, she took him up there. So he like, oh, I know you want this or whatever. She like, no, I don't. We just having a couple drinks, a couple puffs. So I'm like, all right. So she wasn't going to sleep with him. Cause he was like, well, Calvin was doing so she was like, all right, you go. He was like, well, I gotta use the bathroom. So he go to use the bathroom. She gets on the phone. She calling Brie. Brie getting her insides rearranged, and she not answering the phone. So I'm like, girl, why you just ain't text her? Like, you know, she went home with Calvin. You know, it's late at night. Why is you calling her? But at any rate, this is Dani we talking about. So she, what did she do, child? So she keep blowing Brie up or whatever. Do it in the bathroom. Brie finally answers the phone. I'm like, girl, no. She finally answers the phone. She like, why you blowing me up? Like, what's going on? She was like, oh, well, I'm here with the dude from the bartender, and he was saying like Calvin was, because at first she was all like, well, is he okay? What he doing? He acting weird. I'm like, Dani, just spit it out. Like, come on now. So then she finally says the bartender said that he was doing meth and whatever, and Brie act like she ain't hear her or whatever. And then she was like, all right, girl, well, you know, make sure everything okay. So the bartender in the bathroom, Brie gets off the phone. So now we at Brie's house. And then Calvin is telling her like he loves her, and he was like, look, you can't keep doing this to me or whatever, because I guess she stopped girl, this man was strong, okay, and you get off the strongness and go answer the phone for Dani, girl, bye. So because he was like, because now he's soft as a damn shit, what's some damn thing called? Gummy worm. He's soft as a gummy worm. And he like, well, kiss it and bring it back alive. And she like, not right now. So she all in her head because they didn't say he was smoking meth. And then he want to talk about the future. He want to talk about being exclusive. And he's talking about he want 5 kids. And she acting real sketch like, but she won't tell him what Dani had told her. and he thinking like did he do something that night, and it's just a whole but like miscommunication. Like, just fucking talk already, goddamn it. And she like, no, but I don't think we need to be exclusive. We just started dating. I'm like, bitch, you just realized that y'all just started dating, but whatever. They go into this whole thing, and then she was just like, well, I'm not ready for a relationship right now and stuff. So then he got hurt, his feelings got real hurt, and child, he was about to leave, and she was like, well, why you about to leave? Don't leave and stuff. Like, we should talk about it. Let's see where this gonna go and stuff. And he was just like, all right, bet. But you can see like he was visibly hurt. She was like, well, I think you upset. He lied, say he not upset, he not hurt, it's okay. Like, why is we lying? But you laying there all in a fetal position about to cry. Like, get the fuck out of here. So he like, well, I'm gonna go to sleep and stuff. I'm just like, these two. Child, why James is in the damn bathroom showering, and then he's talking about something, he was brushing his teeth. She like, you ain't come with no toothbrush. He was like, I'm using yours. Ew, first of all, you don't know where her mouth been, because it was on Preston that morning, and then you over there using her toothbrush. Like, that's nasty. That is nasty. I don't even care if we was slobbing and swapping spit. That's nasty. Like, ew. Like, gingivitis, like bacteria out of my, that's nasty. That's so nasty. But anyway, he come out the bathroom, child. He butt naked. We got like a little sim sensor on his dick. Whatever. This whole scene, because she looked uncomfortable. She looked like she didn't want him there. She looked like she wanted him to leave. And she kept saying like, no, I don't want you to stay. Like, that's not what I wanted and stuff. And he was basically forcing himself the same way Andy was forcing herself on Paris. So he forcing himself on Dani, and he like sniffing her, and then he put her hands behind her back, talking about something. He gonna suck on her bunions, and he gonna eat her ass, the ass she put. I was just like, I'm uncomfortable. Then he like choked me, and then he rubbing all on her and stuff, and it just was uncomfortable. Like, I like a good sex scene. Like I told y'all last week, even though we didn't get to see nothing between Fatima and Zach, like, that was hot. You know, I'm used to TV giving me this old stuff, like on Love After Lockup, when they give us that gross, like, I don't want to see that. But that was like, oh yes, show us something. But you know, it's not HBO Max or Skinamax or nothing like that, so we couldn't see it and all that. But this, Andy and Paris and Dani and James, uncomfortable. But at any rate, they go on. We back, and this the next morning, child. Paris and Andy, they just got busy on the couch, child. They butt naked on the couch, and his mama, or wasn't that his grandma, but he called her mom, she walks in, and I'm like, she lit in? Like, he lit with his mama? But she come in there, she see them, she moved the clothes, which I thought was unnecessary. Like, whatever. She moved the clothes. She in the kitchen banging and banging, making all this noise so they can wake up. They finally wake up, and Andy was like, well, what was that noise? And he was like, oh, it's probably my mom. I think my mom up. She looked up. The mama standing right there by the couch, child. This scene was just unnecessary and ridiculous to me, because I'm like, first of all, you live in the basement. Why is you worried about what's going on up here? Like, I'm a grown ass person. Why is you worried about who I'm screwing and all this other stuff? You live in the basement. Stay in the basement, mama. Like, why are you up here doing all this? She was real agitating. And she all like, well, because Andy like, well, where my clothes at and stuff like that. She like, oh yeah, I moved them over here. So then you gonna move my clothes. You gonna have me sitting there looking crazy. She's fussing at Paris like he a teenager. Like, you need to go wash that sex off you and all this other stuff. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, what? He claims she lived with him, but who knows, child? But at any rate, she tell the Paris to leave out the room so she can have a sit down and one-on-one with Andy. Andy like, yo, you really gonna leave me here? Like, you really gonna leave me sitting here while your mama go at me or whatever? He like, so he leaves. He's the punk. So he goes and leaves her sitting there. Mind you, she's still on the couch with the damn blanket or towel or something covering up her body and whatnot. The mama going in, well, I heard y'all was real loud, so you was eavesdropping at the door? Like, mama. So She like, I heard y'all was real loud, like, and what did she say? And the way the house set up, it's just weird because it looked like it was an apartment, but I guess it wasn't an apartment. I don't know. Do they got brown? I don't think they got brownstones in Georgia like that. I don't know. But at any rate, the setup was weird looking. But she like, well, I heard y'all, and then I heard my son say that you ain't like him, but then you like him. Like, what's going on? What happened to you? You hurting? And Andy like, no, that's not what's going on. Like, I just wanted to have sex or whatever. And she was like, well, whatever's ailing you, I know something going on. And she was like, well, can you have me my clothes? She was like, no, like, you ain't gonna have me my clothes? Like, the fuck? So she going in on Andy. Andy finally was like, well, because she was like, well, did you have an argument or something? And she was like, well, she said something about Gary. She was like, oh, that guy the FBI came for. She was like, you know about that? She was like, everybody know about that. We cleaned the office and stuff. So she coming in, Andy talking about something with, this is not gonna, what did she say? My son is a good man, and because he slept with you because he's a man, and she basically is putting this guilt trip on Andy, talking about something, you too pretty and too sweet to be somebody's one nighter, and you going. Then she called Paris back in there and tells him to apologize to her and then take her home and stuff. So she was just like, I don't know, it was. To me, it was just too much because it's like you giving me some lecture. I didn't ask for your advice. I didn't ask for your 2 cents. If I wanted to screw your son, I could screw your son. And if your son definitely could have just not took me to his place, he could have took me home versus taking me to his place. Like, we all make choices in life. So, like, don't put all that on me. Like, I just ain't like the whole scene. What did y'all think about that one? Anyway, we see Fatima. Of course, Andy was humiliated. Lord, I can't get the word out. Humiliated. There we go. And Paris finally gave her dress, and then she got dressed or whatever. We see Fatima. She trying to wake Zach up. He got a hangover. Of course, they had a good night. She's giving him positive affirmations, telling him like he's going to do good in the program. He's going to make a lot of money. He like, why are you doing this? Like, what's going on? And she was like, cause I believe it. I think it's true and stuff. And he was like, wow, like, cause he not used to that or whatever. And I also forgot that Zach has the tendency to leave out the fact that he screwed Karen over as well. So he keeps saying like she picked me up, like she did all these things for me. So you know she was going out on a limb. She was giving you a place to stay, giving you money, helped you find a job, doing all these things for her. And the way you repay her was by cheating on her. Not once, but a couple times. And you had a whole scare that you got somebody pregnant. But he leaves that out, which is just drives me crazy. So you think she's going to be nice to you after you cheated? Like, that don't even make no sense to me. But again, Karen had a choice to leave Zach alone if that's what she really wanted to, but she didn't. Oh yeah, and I had skipped something. I'm gonna go back after I finish this. Like I said, he was being real skeptical, trying to figure out what was going on. Fatima was like, "Boy, hush. This is what I do." Then she gave him keys to a Jeep and said that this is a loaner for you to get around. Don't screw up. Come to the house because you're going to put in a lot of work or whatever. And then they kissed or whatever. She told him to go in there and put that Listerine and that mouthwash up. No, I said Listerine and mouthwash. Toothpaste up in your mouth. And, you know, what else she said? Oh, and then he was like, well, when can I see you again? She was like, when I need you. I was like, oh, I know that's right, girl. So, let me rewind because I forgot a scene. So, after the whole James thing with Dani, we go to Karen. She in her room. She sleeps. She having a nightmare and stuff. She wake up screaming. She think the intruder in there. She thinks Zach's still hurt. She want to call Zach. Of course, Aaron runs in there to the rescue. He like, everything's okay. It was just a nightmare. Zach is okay, but you can call him if you need to just to make sure he's okay. She says no. And see, this is what I like about Aaron. Even though him and Zach don't get along, he's still like, you know what, go ahead and call him, make sure he all right, if that's going to soothe you. He not all of his feelings like, why you need to call him, like the way Zach was. So at any rate, she like, I'm fine. Well, can you just hold me and stuff? So he basically stayed in the room and held her while she went to sleep. Fast forward. So we see Aaron. That's why I was like, wait a minute, I skipped something. So we see Aaron. He cooking Karen breakfast. He like, well, you ain't have a lot. And she was like, oh, I smelled it. I was like, she smelled toast. Because that's all I saw. But he made some bacon too. So it was toast and bacon. They sit up there chit-chatting and stuff. Somebody going to go grocery shopping at night. And they reminiscing on how they met. He says he woke up and felt like everything was going to be okay. And he said that he had a conversation with God. And God said that just trust in him. So that's what he said. And then he says that he's going to leave for work and stuff like that. As he's getting up to leave and give Karen a kiss, Andy walks in. So Andy comes in. She got an attitude or whatever. She's saying that she getting changed so she can meet with the partners at the law office again. And Karen like, girl, that's not what you finna do. Like, you want to sit down here and you want to talk. And she was like, well, I don't really want. She was like, you want to sit down here and talk. So Karen was like, you was embarrassed, wasn't you? She was like, well, yeah. And then she was like, well, why did I do that? She was like, girl, because you be doing that stuff, you know? She was like, stuff? What? Stuff? What happened? She was like, well, I meant to say shit. She was like, but you didn't say it. Like, what's going on? The past to change you? I mean, no. I mean, just like a little bit, you know, or whatever. So she jonesing for Aaron, and I think for the most part they're cute. They just had that rocky start with the crazy ass ex and all that other nonsense, but it's okay. And so then Andy started telling her how the mama was there and got all up in the business and stuff. And she was like, girl, he lived with his mama? And so Andy was like, well, he say that she lived with him. She was like, that's what all the men say when their mama live, or when they live with their mama. So they was cracking up. They had a little moment there. The ending, child. We see Gary. He with his lawyer. Oh, no, not the ending. Gary, because, you know, usually they ended on the jail scene. But they didn't this time. So Gary, he's sitting there with his lawyer. But I thought he said his lawyer was a female. This lawyer's a guy. And the guy's telling him, like, I got to go down there to talk to the judge. And the judge should give you bail because we're frat brothers and stuff like that. And he was like, all right. Well, you know, just get me out here. Then he showed him some paperwork with his name, his signature on there. And he was like, well, that ain't me. I don't know who that is. Like, the wife had all that. That's electronic signature. She had all that, whatever. So he like, all right, bet. So then he like, well, did you do what I asked you to do? He was like, yeah, I tried to, but it ain't work out. He was like, no, for real. Did you do what I told you to do? He was like, all right, yeah. So Gary must have told the lawyer to go down there to the bar or whatever, the spot on Andy. So he's like, the lawyer don't want to tell him what happened. But the lawyer finally tell him like she was with this dude. He was like, what the dude look like? He was broad, had a beard. Yeah. I knew it. What was they doing? They was dancing or whatever. Look. Oh, screw her. Just look, I just want all my money back. I gave her some money. I want all my money back. So you need to meet her at that law office. Get my money back. The lawyer was like, all right. So the lawyer get up. He tried to go. Wait a minute. Before you go, how long did you watch him? And he was like, not for long or whatever. And he was like, all right, just get me out of here. And the lawyer was like, yeah, I heard you, Gary. I heard you the first time. The lawyer looked like he was over him, and Gary might be sitting in jail for a long time. So I was just like, Lord. Dani, she looked knocked out. Well, she is knocked out. She butt naked. Preston walks in because the landlord, who got a thing for Preston, to let him in Dani's house again. She like, I've been meaning to cuss that damn landlord out. I got to do that. He waking her up. He apologizing. He like, look, I'm sorry. It got into my head. Yada, yada. She like, okay, well, can we just talk about this later? I gotta get ready for work and stuff. And he like, So all you hear like all this noise and stuff in the bathroom. So, cause she was looking around like, oh snap. Where do that? Child, you know her apartment that big. So she looking around. He like, well, since when you was in a rush to get to work? She was like, well, the big boss coming. I'm trying to get this promotion and yada, yada, yada. He like, well, what's that noise? But she was like, well, you know, the walls is thin. It's the part. She lying, basically. Child, the toilet flush. He was like, what's going on? Like the toilet flushing? Child, why James come out there? He's still butt naked. We still got the Sims blurb on his ding dong, child. And Preston looking like, this nasty whore. And then that's how it went off. I was just like, this is too much, child, because first of all, like I said, she just had sex with Preston that morning, and then you having sex with James that night. Like, you move like that fast because y'all had a miscommunication, and that man, I mean, I don't know. I don't operate like that because he didn't contact you back. Like, so you just gonna go on and hop on some new dick? Like, I don't know. Dani was real foul for that, and Preston looked like he was not having it. And she done just messed up something with Preston to be with some scammer who really ain't really about nothing. But that was the episode of Sistas. Y'all let me know how y'all felt about this episode. If y'all like this recap review, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you are not subscribed to my channel, but you are watching my reviews, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to be notified when I drop new videos. All right, y'all, let me go ahead and do Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and I will see y'all next time. Peace.